Hey, is Dave there?
So what do I have for you today? Well, it's something I'm going to call the Vermillion Loop. It consists of the Vermillion Lakes near Banff, a connector through to the Bow River, and then a back paddle or a paddle back up Echo Creek to complete the loop. As you can see, it's beautiful today. We've had a lot of crummy weather, so I'm happy to get out and paddle. Rundle in the background there, and an iconic mountain of Banff. And we're going to get started. I'll show you a little bit of the underwater and the wildlife vegetation as I go. I've got the GoPro mounted to the kayak, and we'll see what we can find. For this adventure, I'll describe it using my simplistic Google Earth maps. You'll see here that I started at the dock on the lake just off Highway 1, and you can get there by taking the Banff exit and taking a side road. This was not my initial choice. I was going to start in Banff, but Banff is so busy I would highly recommend using the dock. And then from the dock, we're going to wander to the west and check out some of the side parts of the lake, and then work our way around to the train tracks. And I picked this spot because there's a couple culverts there, and there's extended water beyond the train tracks to get close to the Bow River. Once we get to the train tracks, this is a lift. It's not a portage. You just slide the kayak over top of the train tracks, obviously being careful that a train isn't coming. Venture your way down a little back channel, and ultimately you get to the pullout point where you do a short portage to the Bow River. From here, we are going to work our way down the Bow River. You're going to enjoy some amazing views of both Rundle and Cascade Mountain. We eventually approach the mouth of the Echo Creek. At this point, there is a rental house that will rent you kayaks and canoes if you want to start your journey from here, and then ultimately work our way up the Echo Creek. Paddling up the Echo Creek is not a difficult task. It's a very slow-flowing river that really sources from Vermillion Lakes, and the water itself comes through a very large beaver dam that blocks the one end. So the current is very manageable, and it's a very pretty paddle. To work your way back into Vermillion Lakes, you'll need to take the left branch on the Echo Creek, and it's a short paddle in, maybe a couple hundred meters, to a beaver dam. This is the final lift to get back up into the lakes, and after the lakes you'll be in a channel similar to the Echo Creek that'll take you out to the main lake. Once you're back on the main lake, it's a matter of working your way to the north, picking the north channel, and you can return to the west lake and of course the dock where we started. Now, typically on a paddle like this, I always find it nice to have a little bit of music when I'm paddling, so I'll put on my mellow list and we'll get started. From the push-off of the dock, I knew it was in for a special day. As you can see, the sun is out, the skies are clear, and the views are amazing. Unfortunately, the GoPro in the waterproof case, which I'm using today, really diminishes the mic. So while I'm talking about certain things here at the beginning of the video, they're not coming through. So I'll just voice over what I was saying. Basically, it is around safety equipment. So I have a life jacket on. I'm using a hard-sided kayak for this particular trip because it's flat water, it's much more efficient. And I have this dry bag where I hold all my essentials. I have my phone in there, I have an alternate communication device for with an emergency broadcast that's just a backup, and a few other pieces of safety equipment. I took a few shots of the underwater view for you, and while paddling around I noticed the entire lake bottom is like this, and while it appears to be a few feet deep, I suspect it's quite a bit deeper than that, and what you're seeing is 2 or 3 feet of this vegetation growing off the bottom in most spots, giving it this wispy, foresty type feel. As part of the paddle, I enjoy paddling into shallow water near the edges where there's a lot of surface plants. Here you can see a nice pink flower called smartweed and lots of tall grasses and other things that grow on the edges, providing a lot of cover for ducks and insects and other small birds.
So I made it to the train track. One of the questions I had to myself when I was paddling this loop is was there a bridge or a tunnel under there? You can see something on Google Earth, but I thought probably it was too small. As it turns out, I'm right. Well, you can see there's two large, probably 36-inch culverts, which are not big enough anyway, but they're completely submerged with the wet weather we've had. So what I'm going to do is probably get myself over the train tracks. There's another wet stretch, and then there's some trees behind that wet stretch. So I'm hopeful that I can find some solid ground and slide my way over to the Bow River. I've made it over the first hazard and what I call the first lift. There's two lifts, and I figure one portage on this route. That's lift one, getting past the train track. I was kind of hoping a train would come by. This would be a great time now that I'm over. I haven't heard or seen anything, so maybe we'll catch one here in the next 10 or 15. Now I've got to search for a pull-out spot to go over to the Bow River. I'm going to go down this channel, and that should get me to within about 100 meters of the bow. After that, we'll see what kind of portage we have.
So this might be a slightly better spot to go in. I have no idea what these plants are that are growing. After crossing the train tracks, it took a little work to find the right approach for the portage. I eventually found this side channel that had a large overgrowth of water plants, but ultimately got me to some solid land.
So it looks like there's a small road here. Just trying to drag the kayak through and find the edge. Probably would have been good to have bear spray. Oh, and I can see there's the river right there. I thought it was a marsh, but we're here. This is at the edge. I just got to find a way down. Yeehaw! Not as bad as I thought. So I don't know if these riders saw me, but I stopped to take a pee, and of course they come along, but I don't think they've noticed me, or if they have, maybe they've heard me talking. But we're going to go in here very deep, or deeper than I would have preferred, but I will probably stand at my knees and just try and get into the kayak from the water, so that hopefully I won't get wet. And there's the kayak. Pulled it down a beaver slide, no problem.
All I'm saying here is that the drop-in into the river isn't too bad. The hard-sided kayak is ideal for this style of portage where I just grabbed a handle and really sledded it behind me. And that the portage wasn't as bad as I anticipated. It was about 100 meters. The bush was a little thick at the beginning, but overall, not a problem. As you round the corner on the Bow River, you get to see one of Banff's two iconic mountains, Cascade to the north and Rundle to the east.
In the distance, as we progress down the river, you'll see the rental house. This is where you can rent kayaks and canoes if you need them, and it also marks the entrance to Echo Creek, part of the return trip to Vermillion Lakes. Now, there's a running joke with my family that if we run into chaos or injury on one of our outdoor adventures and it involves a tourist, that tourist is likely to be British. Now, this is understandable. 85% of their population comes from a city environment and they simply lack experience in the outdoors. Here we can observe a typical British tourist trying their very best to sink their canoe while driving themselves into an overhanging tree. Now, I want everyone to be kind to the Brits. They're great tourists, they bring money into our province, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit extra safety equipment just for them. The final lift out of this journey is over Beaver Dam, and as you can see, there's always a bit of a traffic jam here. There's lots of room. If you just wait your turn, you can get up and over the dam and back into Vermillion Lakes. On the return trip in East Vermillion Lake, I ran into much larger patches of the smartweed, as you can see. And what I found really interesting was sitting in the middle of them and watching just the bumblebee activity as they went from flower to flower. Here's a slowed down video that shows a bee flying right by the camera. On the return trip to the dock, the GoPro camera caught some water droplets on the lens, but I left this footage in to show the completion of the trip, but also I thought it was very cool the way the sun was refracting off the water droplets on the lens. I guess I should have worn my hat. Anyway, wrap up is I went in at about 11:30 here, maybe a little bit before. I'm out at 1:45. It's a great paddle. The loop worked fine. Everything is accurate with respect to Google Earth. You can find your way around. There's no hidden channels that are difficult. Maybe the last one. Looks like I got a bit of sun today. That's all right. This paddle is all about scenic beauty. It's not about challenging myself or the elements, and in that regard it gets an A+. Join me in episode 9 where we try and hike to the Hole in Wall. It's a very well-known cave that overlooks the Bow Valley corridor. Please like and subscribe if you want to keep the adventures rolling. Dave's not home, man.